thing there, but I suppose I just wanted to do honour to, or respect to some of the humaneness that does come out, even as we're re-traumatising, I suppose. That was why those fingers were crossed.
And just in terms of my perception, that's exactly what I see. As an activist, kind of, I'm focused more on ranting about the bad stuff than the good. But it's the not all men kind of argument, isn't it? Not all mental health workers, not all psychiatrists, and anyway, but definitely a blog in there.
But yes, taking your thread, women located in the BPD spectrum and Herman and
So you called it a BPD spectrum then? So I'm interested in that. What do you think of BPD in regards to women?
Well, it's. I'm not signed up to the medical model for personality disorder myself. I should preface my remarks by saying so.
When you say you're not signed up, what do you mean?
Well, it means that's not how I think of people when I'm sitting with them. When I ask a team what's the diagnosis, it's not because that's telling me what they're like, what the woman is like, let's say. It's telling me what treatments are being predicted and what some of the discourses are likely to be about. But it's not. I'm not taking that because that's the thing I need to know, if you see what I mean.
Okay.
In terms of describing the patient, the diagnosis, in a funny kind of way, describes the team.
So there's two things there I want to ask you a bit more about. So you said about the sorry, I'm just writing that down, so I'm terrible at remembering. So you said the diagnosis gives you an insight into what the narratives might be about, the discourses might be about.
And narratives, yes. So the team will be talking about a patient and so in reflective practice work, the team will be talking about a patient, and I might say, "Can you tell me about the patient?" And they might get a bit stuck, and I said, one of the questions I might ask is, "What's the diagnosis?" But that's because that tells me the rubric under which they're being treated. Diagnosis predicts treatment. There's not much point in it otherwise, in a way, within forensic mental health. But because I think that reflective practice. We talk about going all over the place now. So, reflective practice is mandated within forensic pathways. You have to have it now. You would think, gosh, why do you have to be enforced? But anyway, it has at some point. Someone said, you really, 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 this is a standard. So now people have to meet it. So hurrah. But why? But speaking as a psychotherapist with a tenuous hold on the NHS, why reflective practice? It's because of personality disorder, or rather, to be precise, it's because of the problems, many of which are shunted under the heading of personality disorder. Because I know this is a slight generalisation, but suicidality is certainly one of those sort of universes that's often kind of disposed of under that rubric.
The rubric of personality disorder.
Self-injurious behaviour. That must be. It must be APD, right? Patients, dratted patients who just decline to be patients, must be APD.
Why do you think that happens?
Well, it's. I'll tell you what I mainly think now. I think it's habit and pattern. It's like saying, why the troubles in Northern Ireland, and God knows why it was to start with, or one can make an argument about why it was to start with, but right now it's because that's how we've lived for 30 years, and so that's what we do. We shoot each other across the boundaries, yeah? I think thinking about it as I write about it, as I have been doing lately, one of the things I've been thinking is, do you know what, this is just habit and pattern, and we keep on forgetting and going back to these attributions, because like a heroin fix, they worked for us. They didn't actually work, but they felt momentarily like they worked for us, and we just get back into the habit.
When you say it worked, would you say that
it's a projection?
Because it gets,
yes.
You mean it gets rid of?
Yeah, so it kind of, my unease, my discomfort, my sense of being somewhere near a torture story, whatever it is, it's over in the patient that refuses to be a patient, or and in the attribution of it. My irritation has been caused by this other person. It's not been nothing to do with my discomfort.
And you would say that the diagnosis specifically of personality disorder facilitates that, or is that what you're saying?
Well, I hope it is increasingly rarely the case that that's why a psychiatrist enters the ICD code for emotionally unstable personality disorder in the Reho notes. I like to think mostly that there's just a frame and a discourse and a set of ideas and indicators and symptoms, and if you put EUPD in the right box in the electronic notes, that provides a frame for the treatment and indicates the DBT pathway, and that's what the psychiatrist is thinking.
Okay.
Right. So it's not necessarily malign, you understand, but systemically, personality disorder really means moral insanity, derives from moral insanity in a sort of straight line, and therefore the habit and pattern of the projective attribution goes right back to its origins. Now, it's complicated because on the one hand that was a move by the medical guilds to get a foothold in the criminal justice system. So let's create a category of these people who are not mad enough that they could call in a doctor, but we could provide some expert evidence about their, what should we call it, their moral insanity, let's say. And get ourselves a gig.
So that's interesting. So you think it was coming from the medical side of things rather than the criminal justice side of things? Because the money ended up in the criminal justice system rather than the money has.
Well, yes, indeed. But part of the genesis of the term is a sort of colonial move on the part of the medical guilds to get some action outside of sort of gross symptoms of psychosis. And so, but moral insanity gets you, possibly doesn't mean you don't get hung, but it certainly doesn't mean you get brought in from the cold. so it's an ambiguous thing. If you create a diagnosis and it gradually becomes a diagnosis of personality disorder, you get access to treatment pathways. You get access. You might, in certain circumstances, get your benefits paid, etc., etc. But so long as it's quite clear that you're over here in some other category, because your personality is disordered, and our personalities are not disordered. Yours are. We understand it's therefore tricky for you, and you get these treatment pathways and welfare pathways. But we're glad our personalities aren't disordered. So there's always an attribution and a habit and pattern. So then attention-seeking, manipulative and deliberate self-harm and splitting, just follow down that path. It's like a neural pathway in mentalizing theory.